Have you ever noticed that every time you go through a big life transition, you don't feel like yourself anymore? Maybe you become more anxious, more overwhelmed, even more numb. Maybe you start over planning and therefore try to control the outcomes. Most women think there's something wrong with them, when in reality, this is not what is happening here. There's nothing wrong with you, first of all. And second of all, what is happening is that a specific part of yourself is being activated right now, is taking over right now. And I call this the self-activated archetype. Once you understand this concept, once you truly understand what is exactly your self-activated archetype, how it shows up in your life, what are its characteristics, once you understand fully that, you're gonna move through this big life transition with less anxiety, less overwhelmed, and more certainty, ironically, because you're gonna create more inner stability within yourself. You're gonna stop fighting yourself and you're gonna start moving with clarity, compassion, and self-trust during this uncertainty. So today I'm gonna show you what exactly that means and how to move through big life changes without losing yourself. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, hi, my name is Chrisana. I'm a psychological life coach. Here we speak all about inner healing, inner work, and self-development. And if you've been here before, hi, welcome back. And yeah, let's get straight into the video. So let's discuss what is exactly the self-activated archetype, right? So in order to understand it, you have to have in mind that during every single life transition, whatever that is for you, maybe it's a career change, maybe it's a relocation, maybe it's a relationship breakup, maybe it's even entering marriage, having children, whatever it is for you, at its core, every single life transition is an identity shift, a consciousness shift. Now, psychology calls this identity, spirituality calls this consciousness, energetic field, or even existence. So call it what you want. We are talking about the same thing here. Every time you're stepping into a life you wanted or you didn't want, maybe this happened out of control for you, your identity changes. And the thing is, this doesn't happen automatically. There is this stage where your old identity has dissolved, but your new one hasn't formed yet. And that exact phase, which I call the sacred in between, is where there's so much uncertainty, there's so much darkness, not because it's dark energetically or anything like that, it's just that it's too dark outside there. There is darkness and there is fog, so you cannot see clearly. That's what I mean. And that uncertainty, that liminal space, create a protective response. And that protective response is the self-activated archetype. That is a specific part of yourself that believes, I know exactly how to protect you and how to keep you safe. And that's why I'm gonna activate this specific part of yourself. So that is not something that happens consciously, that happens automatically. It's automated within our nervous system, within our subconscious mind. It's not something we know what is going on unless we have awareness. So this is your nervous system responding to the unknown. And if you don't recognize it, if you don't see it, first of all, it's gonna keep becoming automated all throughout your life, and that can be extremely harmful. This part can quietly take over your life and run all of your decisions, which we don't want that for you, right? We want you to lead your decisions. We want you to take the driver's seat of your life. Even though this part is not bad, I'm not saying it's bad, you want to take the lead, your true self, your authenticity, your truest, most authentic version of yourself. This is what we want to take the lead in your life. Because if you don't, it can keep you stuck in overthinking, ruminating. Maybe it's gonna create loops of over controlling other people, situations in your life. Maybe it's gonna keep shutting you down instead of creating connections with other people. Whatever it is, if you don't see it, it's gonna keep doing its thing. Even convince you to abandon the very life you were trying to build right now, or the one you are actively trying to reinforce. But once you see it clearly, you stop letting it take over, you stop fighting with it, and you take over. Your true self takes over. This is what I experienced when I moved to London a few years ago for my master's. I was in this state before moving of over planning, over organizing, trying to control every single area of my life, but at the same time forgetting to grieve the old identity, the old life, the old city, everything, the old country, everything. And when I made it to London, I felt numb. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like this is not what I wanted to experience. Like, yes, I felt excitement and relief, maybe 3 months, I want to say. And then I felt numb. I felt like, why I am not happy here? I expected to be happy once I get here. And this is a whole another conversation. It should be a video on its own, because like chasing happiness is never gonna get you where you want to be in life. But there was also this part of me activated before the move and after the move. So two different self-activated archetypes, because they were trying to protect me. They were trying to keep me safe during this big life transition of moving to the new country, of getting my dream degree. I was accepted in my master's in clinical health psychology and well-being. I was really excited and afraid at the same time, but I couldn't see it at the time. I didn't have the resources. I wasn't aware of this taking over my life and taking the lead in my life instead of me taking the lead. So it created so much more noise and fear and self-sabotage because I couldn't see it. And sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes you just need to see it in order for it to stop self-sabotaging and running your life, because the truth is, it's just asking you to witness it. That's why I keep saying to my students in Metamorphosis and to anyone that asks me, you just need to witness it. You cannot keep running away from it. That's not going to take you anywhere in life. In fact, it might take you in the opposite direction of the life you truly want, the woman you truly want to become. That's what happened with me too. I almost self-sabotaged going to London. I lost my ID just a few days before I had to send some important documents, even though I used to be such a type A. I never lost my ID up until that point in my life, and that was the self-activated archetype taking the lead in my life instead of me taking the lead. I couldn't see it. So that's how harmful it can be. It can even cause you to self-sabotage your next level. It almost took away my next level because I couldn't see it. So how can you recognize it so you don't fall into this trap? Your self-activated archetype may show up as over-controlling, overperforming, overworking, overplanning, people-pleasing, numbness, perfectionism, anxiety, hyper-independence, and so much more. Those are different behaviors on the surface. No matter how different they seem, they all share the same goal. And that goal is to protect you and to keep you safe. So during this uncertainty, that is their main purpose, to keep you safe. That is all they want to do. They don't want to try to cause harm. This is not their intention, even though it might seem like it on the outside, right? Perfectionism. It might cause some harm. Yeah, I almost didn't go to London because of self-sabotage, because of fear underneath all of that, right? But this is not the intention behind that. And the thing is, all of those behaviors, every single self-activated archetype, and by the way they are for, they have strengths to them too. That's why they are being activated, because they are trying also to protect this strength beneath the surface, your uniqueness, your gifts, your authenticity. Once you understand this thing, you stop making those protective behaviors mean there is something wrong with you. Because you and I both know there is nothing wrong with you, right? And instead, what you do naturally, you start establishing a compassionate relationship to them, even if it seems contradicting. That is the key. That is the key that most people will never do in their entire lives. And that is why most people will be in war with themselves for their whole entire lives, because they cannot create a compassionate relationship to those protective parts. And that is sad, because I know firsthand how harmful that can be. So the goal is not to get rid of that part. No. The goal is to recognize it, to acknowledge it. Because if you don't, you're gonna keep gaslighting yourself into thinking you're not enough, you're in the wrong, you're a bad person, you are not worth enough, or you're too much. When in reality, the self-activated archetype, this protective response, is just trying to make you feel safe. So the goal here is to create a compassionate relationship to it instead of rejecting it or avoiding it or repressing it. That is all. That is all that it needs. It needs an established, compassionate relationship, because every protective pattern carries its own wisdom. And once you understand what is it afraid of, you're gonna stop fighting with it. You're gonna start working with it. How exciting. So I want to give you homework. I want to give you what I gave my students inside Metamorphosis. And this is to ask yourself every time perfectionism, every time hyperfixation, every time over-controlling, over-planning, every time people-pleasing shows up. Ask yourself, instead of judging yourself, first of all, stop, pause your judgment, don't allow yourself to judge yourself. And instead, what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, what is this part is trying to protect me from? What are you trying to protect me from, self-activated archetype, right now? I can see you trying to fix things, trying to control things, trying to perfect things, trying to please other people. What are you trying to protect me from? And sit with that. Maybe sit in meditation if that works for you. Maybe journal it out, whatever works for you. And then place one hand on your heart and say, thank you so much for protecting me. Thank you so much for keeping me safe. I see you. I see how hard you've been working all of those years. And I am here with you right now. Thank you. And just like that, you start witnessing this part and understanding it. You give it space. And this is how you establish a relationship to it, instead of forcing this part to disappear or resisting to it. This is witnessing, and this is what gives you also the space to create new behaviors, new, more aligned behaviors. Because this part, chances are that it's gonna melt, it's gonna soften. And then it's gonna naturally want to create a more aligned life to you. It's gonna be naturally wanting to help you to get to the next level, instead of being seemingly opposing to you. It's just gonna melt because it's gonna be witnessed. And this is what it has been asking you all along. So it's gonna start protecting you in new ways after you do this a few times. Start doing that every other day for a month. And then let me know what are the results of that. I'm excited for you. So if you don't feel like yourself during this sacred in-between, I wanna say again, there is nothing wrong with you. I know how fearful it can be being in a life transition, being in this unknown of the sacred in-between. And at the same time, I know how much courage it takes to be in that space. So I celebrate you. Congratulations for getting to the next level of your life. And if you want to discover what is your unique self-activated archetype in this chapter of your sacred in-between, I will link the free quiz down below. So feel free to take it and come back and let me know in the comments, what is your self-activated archetype and what is the big life transition you're going through right now? I would love to know. I respond to all of the comments. I am usually a mix of the warrior woman and the daydreaming queen. So yeah, let me know. And thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful you took the time out of your day to watch this video to up-level your life. And I will see you the next one. Bye.